Arizona's Secretary of State office has been subpoenaed as part of an investigation into efforts to overturn the 2020 election.
The subpoena from special counsel Jack Smith was confirmed to multiple news outlets by a spokesperson from the state agency earlier this week. According to the Arizona Republic, the subpoena specifically looked into two lawsuits, one by the Trump campaign and another from the former Arizona Republican Party chair, which challenged the election results. It comes as numerous Arizona officials have said the Trump campaign and legal team pressured them to support efforts to overturn the election.
For more on this, let's bring in CBS News congressional correspondent Scott MacFarlane. So, Scott, what is the latest on the grand jury probe in Washington of efforts to overturn the elections?
Elaine and Michael, it's good to be with you. Let's get one piece of insight into this grand jury investigation right here, right now. The Arizona Secretary of State among those being questioned or sought for records. Add to the list Rusty Bowers, a former state legislative leader in Arizona. Rudy Giuliani, close aide, former attorney, personal attorney for former President Trump. And Brad Raffensperger, Secretary of State in Georgia. We get that one piece of insight through those interviews that this special counsel investigation is now including or expanding to include that fake electors scheme, that attempt to send false electors or somehow mess with the actual election results in those key states, Arizona and Georgia. And I mentioned that it's a unique singular piece of insight because we've seen other floating pieces of insight, that there are interests in the money raised by these fake election claims, the money generated and what became of that money. There's been interest in January 6th itself, what was happening or not happening at the White House as the riotous mob attacked the U.S. Capitol. We're getting glimpses only into what is an opaque investigation that is still underway and has not yet yielded charges. But these latest revelations show it's expanding now to include the fake electors, too.
And jumping off of that point, Scott, it's hard to believe, but we're now hitting the 2.5-year mark of the prosecutions of the U.S. Capitol rioters. Where does that stand right now?
They have now reached a milestone as they hit the 2.5-year mark of the January 6th attack. That milestone is 1,000 plus arrests so far, some of them in court literally today for sentencings or plea agreements. Of the 1,000 plus, roughly half have had their cases closed, either through a plea agreement or through a conviction at trial. But the FBI and the Department of Justice have been unambiguous about this, Michael. They expect to arrest 200 plus more people. They're still seeking roughly 270, but that could be a conservative estimate. It could be well more than 200 or 300 still to be arrested 2.5 years later. And one data point is always worth underscoring, Elaine and Michael, now that we've hit the 2.5-year mark. The Department of Justice has secured convictions at trial 100% of the time before juries in January 6 cases, these many, many January 6 cases.
Wow, pretty remarkable to hear that. Meantime, Scott, in Florida, the federal judge overseeing the federal prosecution of former President Trump over classified documents has just added some new items to the calendar. Tell us about that.
Yeah, Elaine, Judge Eileen Cannon, a Trump appointee who's handling this historic first-ever federal prosecution of a former president, has just splattered a whole bunch of stuff on the calendar. Let's start in order. A week from today, there'll be a hearing into the classified information procedures that'll be needed in this case. Remember, it's a uniquely sensitive case for many reasons, not the least of which is the fact that they have all these alleged classified state secrets they have to process and handle as they go into open court. So that hearing's next week. There'll also be hearings into motions, pretrial motions. Those will be maybe more informal. They'll happen later in July. The judge has set that trial date you saw, August 14th. That's Judge Cannon's proposed trial date. That is not going to happen. It is absolutely a mirage. The special prosecutor himself, Jack Smith, is asking to back up that trial date to the other date you just saw, December 11th. That might be fiction as well. It might have to push well into 2024. And all of this comes to a head as the Iowa caucuses are set to begin in mid-January. Then the primary season, in which Donald Trump is a frontrunner for his party's nomination, get really underway in February. All of this could be on the same track at the same time.
Scott, I know we're swimming in uncharted waters here, but can we get any kind of sense as to whether the former president could face a conviction, even potentially jail time in any of these cases?
These charges in Florida, Michael, carry decades in prison if convicted on all counts. In the federal system, that can be misleading. There's some sticker shock there. In the federal system, there are binding guidelines for which defendants can earn credits, variances, downward or upward. But yeah, these are felonies, with prison time looming on nearly all of them. Same is true for his co-defendant, Walt Nada, who pleaded not guilty yesterday. Donald Trump has pleaded not guilty as well. And it kind of goes back to where we started this conversation. What will Jack Smith do next? The special counsel who brought this case in Florida is still moving with that grand jury here in Washington, talking to, among other people, the secretaries of state of Georgia and Arizona. The bigger question is not just when's the trial, but what comes next?
Scott MacFarlane, thanks so much for breaking all of that down for us.
Thank you.